Hi, my name is Chris Green. I'm from motoring.co.uk. We're here with Victor Nassif. He's here to talk about the Q50 and hopefully answer some questions. Victor, can you tell us what your role is with Infiniti and what your responsibilities are for the launch of this fantastic car today?
Thank you. Well, my responsibilities are for Nissan in Europe, Nissan design in Europe. And that's based right now in obviously Paddington area. We've had the studio there about 10 years. And well, obviously we participated along with Global Nissan Design on this project. The beauty of this car, I think, too, is that it makes it a little bit more affordable for people as they're coming into the Infiniti brand. One of the elements that I think is very important is the proportions of it. Wheelbase is longer, the car is wider, it's lower, it's quite a bit more dynamic in terms of packaging for the vehicle. The engines and drivetrains that we have are state-of-the-art, and the key for us is introducing a lot of new customers into the Infiniti brand. Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things that we pride ourselves in at Infiniti is just the technology we put into the cars. So it's more than just purely doing the aesthetics. It's also incorporating appropriate technology, whether it comes from the engineering team, whether it comes from the design team. We're very, very collaborative in the way that we introduce it into their cars.
In terms of the design and the development, obviously one thing you were saying to me earlier when we were having a brief chat is you think you only get excited when you start seeing people driving this car on the road, because potentially that's all the work you've put in place. I think that must be a really great feeling when you start seeing cars of what you've taken a long time to develop and design driving around. How long have you and the team been working on the design of this car? Because I have to say it's incredibly impressive.
Yeah, well, the key for us is seeing it out on the road, because we've seen it in the design studios, we've seen it out in special courtyards that are completely protected, and it's only us that can see them. We are obviously seeing it here in the showroom, but in actuality, it's when you see it out on the road and you see it and compare it to other vehicles that are out on the road, moving there with customers using it on a daily basis, that you really appreciate the success of the product. The key for me in anything we do is translating that passion that we have internal to what we're doing as a design team. And that's the reason we're in this business, is because we love design, we love cars. And then introducing customers to that passion and that flavor that is important to us.
When you're actually designing a car like this, obviously there's a huge focus with Infiniti on the exterior, but it's fair to say that the interior is pretty beautiful as well, and certainly the ergonomics of the interior it's very well laid out, it's very well impressive, it's very impressive. Everything seems to fit, everything's plush. I'm sure when you drive in this car, it's almost silent. Where'd you get your inspiration from? Where'd you get your inspiration from? What inspires you to come up with such unique designs?
The number one inspiration comes from everything. It's a simple word, everything. I've seen designers that are inspired by going on a holiday or going to a museum, or the inspiration of coming to an auto show, the inspiration of seeing music, arts, anything artistic. That's where our designers are definitely inspired. Seeing architecture becomes very important too. I don't think we spend a lot of time on the exterior and a little bit less time on the interior. If anything, I think we probably spend more time on the interior nowadays. And the reason we do that is because of technology. There's a lot of technology and a lot of features we're introducing into these cars, and really where our customers live, it's in the interior. So we want them to feel comfortable. We want them to feel valued and safe and secure in in the products that we've done. Obviously, it's the exterior that attracts them to the car, but the interior that really sells the car.
And what's your favourite feature of the Q50 as we sit here and look at it? What is your favourite feature?
Well, I was very fortunate in that I was one of the members of the design team that worked on the Emerge E, as we saw it last year here at Geneva. And I think there's a couple of special cues that it comes from the Emerge E. One is obviously the core on the body side. When you read it up there, that high core line going around. and picking up on some of the features for it. That's a pretty nice feeling. The Emergy set kind of a tone in what we were doing, and I think that this vehicle actually picks it up and takes it another step up. Actually, for me, that's easy. Composed. It's a very composed car.
I have to say that's a fantastic way to end it. It really is a fabulous, fabulous car, and I'd like to say well done, and hopefully we'll see a lot on the road very soon. Thank you very much. Gert, thanks for joining us. An exciting day for you today. How do you feel when the car's finally launched today?
It's different, Mike. Yeah, it is a very important day for us. This is actually the first day of a new era for Infiniti in Europe. I think this is probably the most important launch for the brand since we introduced the brand in Europe 5 years ago. So here with Q50, this is really well the first time we replace a model of our existing lineup. But it's a lot more than that, because it's introducing a whole new design philosophy, a whole new design cues for Infiniti, which will give the direction for the future of Infiniti as well. And it's also for us a new offering in one of the most competitive segments in Europe. And now we come also with very competitive tools, in particular 2.2 liter four-cylinder diesel engine with very low CO2, and true to the spirit of the brand, a high performance hybrid version as well.
I do believe it's going to do very, very well. Obviously, it is a tough segment, as you said, in Europe, especially with the German marques. Have you got a compelling strategy in place to make sure that you can at least have a go at taking some of that market share?
Well, yeah, definitely. You know, the segment currently is really dominated by the Germans. I think they account for about 90% of the segment. We don't have the ambition to kick off one of the Germans from the podium, but we want to become the number 4 within the segment, and we want to be known or recognized as the seductive alternative within the segment.
You talk about power, efficiency. You talk about the design of the car as well, which is very, very unique, and I think it will appeal to a particular type of person. I think it is different. I think anybody who's living in the modern world these days and decides they want something a little bit unique, it's certainly the car. But in my opinion, I think some of the safety aspects of the car are actually quite compelling. If you look at the direct adaptive steering as an example, it's a world's first. If you look at the safety shield, the around view sensors, the positive forward collision, as much as you're promoting a luxury performance car that's a little bit different, is it fair to say that this could be one of the safest cars in the world?
But yeah, this Q50, it's introducing several new innovations in terms of safety. One of them is the predictive forward collision warning, and we already have a forward collision warning on some of our cars. So just imagine you're driving on the highway, and the car in front of you will actually slow down suddenly, and the car in front of you will only move out of the way just at the last moment. Actually, the Q50 will be able to anticipate that and warn you already that the car in front of the one in front of you is actually slowing down, and so that the distance is getting shorter and that there is a potential risk of a collision. One of the other technology innovations which you mentioned before was direct adaptive steering, which is a world's first. So it's the first time we see this on a production car today, and I think that's also a good expression of the Infiniti philosophy in terms of technology. It's not just technology for the sake of it, but it's technology because it brings something to you as a driver in terms of either safety or in terms of driving pleasure. And in this case, we replace a mechanical connection between the steering wheel and the wheels by a digital or an electronic connection. So basically, we measure the steering wheel angle or input from the driver at the level of the steering wheel, send it to a control unit who then commands 2 actuators that then help the wheels move, the wheels turn, change the wheel's angle. So by doing that, we can get a much faster response time, so we get the information to the wheels a lot faster, so more responsive, direct feeling of the steering wheel. Wow.
It sounds like this car is going to be very, very enjoyable to drive. There's also some quite unique features in it from an entertainment perspective, a leisure apps in terms of applications in there. You know, obviously in terms of the likes of TripAdvisor apps that you can download into the system, obviously Twitter, Facebook, etc., news feeds. Is there a little message in there that perhaps, as there's obviously an obvious audience that you're targeting, but is there also a younger audience there that you may be targeting who probably a little bit more higher up in the food chain in terms of earnings, maybe certain positions that they're in, but actually, you know, they've embraced social media, embraced technology, maybe mid-20s to late 20s. Is that a message in there that you're focusing on a slightly younger market as well, maybe?
It's a car that's used as a for the daily commute. For business owners, senior professionals. So the car also needs to express their status. So it needs to be really premium car. But also it needs to be able to allow them to bring their friends to the restaurant on a Saturday evening, for example. So that's why we have a very spacious interior, and in particular in the rear. Everybody now has a smartphone. So the convergence between your PC at home, your phone, your television now, it's all getting closer. I think the car is the next step, and this Infiniti InTouch system allows us to do that. It actually brings your iPhone, your iPad into the car.
Does the voice recognition capability adapt to any of that, or is it purely for the music? Because it's got voice recognition capability built in to the entertainment system, hasn't it?
Yeah, right. It's even a new generation of voice recognition, so which is a lot more intuitive, much at the level of a Siri, for example, where you can just speak out what you want, and actually it will pick out the right words and understand what you need, so you don't have to follow a very strict arborescence or logic in terms of wording and commands, etc., to get to a certain level. So yes, it is really a big step forward in terms of voice recognition.
Yesterday, one of the product team made a comment that potentially this could be a make or break car for Infiniti. I personally thought that was a little bit strong. Is that how you see it? Because personally, I think it's a car that's going to make it.
Well, we all hope so. Obviously, it is a very important car, and I think it's the first of a new generation in terms of design, in terms of technology, in terms of market coverage, and it's really going to drive the business of Infiniti for the next years. But there's more to come as well, so we've got exciting new cars in the pipeline as well, one of which is the compact car, which will be built in Sunderland from 2015, so we're very excited about that, and which will further continue our footprint in the European marketplace as well. So Infiniti is really here for the long term in Europe, and yes, we're very confident that this car will allow us to move to the next level, and allow us to shift to the higher gear for the Infiniti business in Europe.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed, Gert. Much appreciated, and I'm sure the Q50 is going to be an absolute winner. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice show.
My name is Chris Green. I'm from motoring.co.uk, and that was the Infiniti Q50.